What is going on? Today is Friday, September 12th. And we have basically, accomplished something that, basically seemed impossible at first. It was, for basically 2 years straight, since July. So, July, August, September, about 2 years and 2 months, or about like a month, of trading before I have really realized any profits. And today is that day. We are finally taking a payout after 2 years of trading, and it's monumental. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know how to explain it. I don't really want to discuss about the charts real quick. Who really cares about the charts? I just want to kind of talk about the discipline and the the aspect of time that had to happen when it comes to really basically obtaining profitability. I would like to assume at this point I'm profitable. Taking a payout, that's not for the weak or for anyone really. So yeah, I've had this account since when? Since July, basically the second week of July. July, August, September. So I had this account for basically 3 months, a little under 3 months. Actually, basically 2 months on the dot. And first week, we obviously joined the trenches. And this was kind of the wake-up call, of am I willing to make these mistakes and really, just let all of my progress of passing accounts and being disciplined and, allowing myself to, break my rules. Am I going to consistently let that happen? And I think this first week is what taught me the first step of, these accounts that eventually led to my payout. The next week, basically a break-even week, up a little 239, nothing crazy. The next week, found some more consistency, around $600. And then the last week of July was another crash out week of $1,100 loss. That was my only last remaining step to profitability, was eliminating big days or big losing days, days that I would go on tilt and then be, emotional about how I traded. So that's kind of where this was the last stepping stone of, thinking emotional. And then we move on to August. August was the month we decided to start to take control. You're not going to find profitability unless you start thinking straight and you don't have any of these tilt days, none of that stuff. So the first week did well, second week did extraordinarily well, third week did well, and then that last week basically break even. But however, we ended up green for 4 straight weeks. And now we go into September, where we basically take a $100.50 loss for the week, 2 trades, and then today, or this week, Monday, Tuesday, break even, Wednesday, loss, Thursday, loss, and then Friday, another $500 trade. This is how I think my equity curve is supposed to look. And yeah, I'm just kind of super proud that, I'm able to really see the fact of, what discipline, what, patience basically in your journey will be able to lead you to. And in this case, it's going to be a payout of basically, $1,000 or a little under $1,000. So yeah, this was a journey. I started way back when, TGR was the GOAT. I really wanted to see, I started from way back when, I don't even remember, all the way here, boot camp, and I watched basically everything. I don't know why it doesn't show up on here, but I watched everything. There's really nothing, there's not a single video I remember, not watching. This video, hopefully I don't get copyrighted, was the start of it all. When TGR sits down and explains, what he's able to do as a result of this and take action. So, took action and then started to, learn. Eventually I came across ICTs, like real concepts, and not, TGR, like through TGR. Instead I went to straight to ICT and started learning these concepts. And the key that I realized in order to become profitable in this situation is you have to find your own edge. And like, I know it's kind of cliche to say, find your own edge, like not everything's for everyone, but it is true. Like, at first, the reason why I was stuck in such, I wouldn't even say drawdown, I would just say constant questioning of how I trade, why I trade it, if it's sustainable long term. And the only variable that I wasn't really excluding was the fact that I'm doing too much. Less is more in trading. So you can see that as soon as I find my 2 fair value gap model in last month, we have 4 green straight weeks that are truly following that model and refining it. 4 green straight weeks, and then that eventually leads into our first payout we have an $800 week, which is a pretty good week. That's our best week so far. We had our best week this week. And that doesn't come randomly. That comes from finding an edge and practicing, executing, and then seeing, what can you tweak? What can you do to this? Because, it took me 2 years to find a strategy, and then it took me another month to sort of, build on it, tweak on it a little bit, like get some experience with it. And then now to the point where I'm going to take consistent payouts, and, I'm going to take 1 payout and then hopefully achieve consistent payouts from this model. But that's what it takes, You can't be scattered around. You can't be, just not taking it seriously. Every trade has to be a serious trade, no matter what you're doing. So yeah, I just kind of want to thank, TGR started way back when, and now he's kind of brain rot. But I mean, I'll give it to him. He taught me the basics. And then ICT, obviously the GOAT. So that's it. That's pretty much it. It's not like some extravagant, crazy, video. Yes, it's a good feeling to get a payout, but now this is like where the journey has just begun. Getting a payout is basically like, the first step of the larger time frame journey here. And yeah, I think I might do like a video this weekend or something, about explaining what going to be my future ideas are, or I can just explain it right now. So I have $950 per account. That's gonna bring it to about I think that's, let me see real quick. That's gonna be about $475 per account, which is pretty solid. There's about $950 payout, and I'm going to basically go max equity on my top steps. So I'm gonna buy 3 more challenges and then copy trade them for the rest of that month essentially. And then I'm going to basically do that, and then we'll see from there. That'll run me about $150, and then I'll save the rest for some expenses or something that I gotta do. But yeah, I'm gonna start going for max allocation, try and see how many maximum accounts I can have on Top Step. Also, I'm aware that my trailing drawdown is gonna be put to basically 0. So once I take a payout, then it'll be put to about 450 left of drawdown. And that would leave me about, if I'm trading 150 a trade, that gives me about 3 trades of buffer before the accounts will be gone. So, say I would lose 1 and then win 1, that's for the future. But yeah, no, we're just gonna leave a little buffer in there. We're gonna withdraw max because I'm trying to I've had these accounts for a long time, for about 3 months. So I want to be able to take out my money and just be content. But yeah, that's it. There's really nothing else about it. And it was always like there's always there's always a bigger fish. So the only journey you should be figuring or trying to really understand is yours. And then eventually that's when that consistency that day in, day out realization of, I'm going to be actually, able to do this and going to make a living off this. And this is like the real way of kind of like showing you, proving. So yeah, this will be a big mental boost when it comes to trading. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. But this is the first step of a long journey ahead. But I'm excited. The ball has to get rolling somehow, and it basically has been rolling, but now it's basically picking up, and it's it's going to start to snowball. So that's all I got. I will reconnect with you guys on the on Monday. I think it's the 15th. And we do have interest rates next week, so it will be a little bit of a stressful week. Not stressful, but a little bit of a volatile week. But yeah, we'll just see what happens, and just stay locked. Praise the Lord, and stay safe. I'll see y'all later.